They came without warning on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. The first sign was a cascade of alerts from deep space monitoring stations scattered throughout the Kuiper Belt. Dr. Sarah Martinez was reviewing quantum field calculations in her office at the Global Defense Initiative headquarters when her holographic display erupted with urgent notifications. The alien fleet materialized at the edge of our solar system. Over 300 vessels, each larger than Earth's biggest cities. Their ships moved with an eerie precision that defied natural physics, maintaining perfect geometric formations that seemed to mock the chaos of human space traffic. "This can't be right," Sarah muttered, her fingers dancing across the haptic interface as she analyzed the sensor data. The quantum signatures from the alien vessels were unlike anything she'd ever seen. Too perfect, too ordered. Every ship pulsed with exactly the same energy frequency, down to the quantum level. Such precision should have been impossible according to everything she knew about quantum mechanics. The GDI's emergency protocols activated within minutes. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, military leaders gathered in hardened bunkers while civilian defense forces worldwide began their long-practiced evacuation procedures. Humanity had spent decades preparing for first contact, but no one had expected it to come in the form of an armada. Admiral Chen's hologram materialized in Sarah's office. "Dr. Martinez, please tell me you have something useful about these visitors." Sarah enlarged the quantum analysis display. "Their technology is strange, Admiral. They've somehow eliminated quantum uncertainty from their systems. Every ship is operating in perfect synchronization, down to the subatomic level. It's impressive, but what, Doctor? But it shouldn't be possible. Quantum uncertainty is fundamental to the universe. They're forcing order onto chaos, and that has to cost them something. No system can maintain that kind of precision without." She trailed off as a new alert flashed across her screen. The alien fleet had begun to move, accelerating toward Earth with that same impossible precision. As she watched, a transmission burst from the lead vessel, broadcasting on all frequencies in perfect, accentless English. "Humanity, your species represents an infection of chaos in an ordered universe. Your technology is primitive, your societies inefficient, your very existence an offense to perfection. We are the Symmetrians, and we bring optimization through force. Surrender now and accept our guidance, or be eliminated. You have 6 hours to comply." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine, but also a glimmer of hope. The aliens' message had confirmed her suspicions. Their obsession with order and optimization wasn't just cultural, it was built into their technology. And any system that rigid, that perfectly ordered, had to have vulnerabilities. "Admiral," she said, "I think I know how we can fight them. But you're going to have to trust me. And what I'm about to propose is going to sound crazy." Chen's hologram smiled grimly. "Doctor, we have an alien fleet at our doorstep demanding we submit to optimization. I think we're well past worrying about crazy." Sarah pulled up the quantum analysis again, highlighting the impossibly perfect harmonic patterns in the alien ship's energy signatures. Their entire technology is built around enforcing perfect order on quantum systems. But quantum mechanics doesn't work that way. The universe requires a certain amount of chaos, of uncertainty. They're trying to impose an impossible standard of perfection, and that means what, Doctor? It means their systems are brittle, inflexible. They've sacrificed adaptability for perfection, and I think I know how we can use that against them." She began typing rapidly, pulling up theoretical models she'd worked on years ago, but had never dared to test. "We don't need to match their power or technology. We just need to introduce enough chaos into their systems to shatter their artificial order." As alert sirens began to wail across the globe, Sarah Martinez prepared to show an advanced alien civilization why evolution had favored adaptation over perfection, and why humanity's greatest weakness might prove to be its saving grace. The war for Earth was about to begin. But it wouldn't be fought with just weapons and ships. It would be fought with quantum mechanics, chaos theory, and humanity's unique gift for turning disorder into advantage. The Symmetrians were about to learn that perfection wasn't just impossible, it was a weakness. In the 5 hours since the Symmetrians' ultimatum, humanity had shown its true nature, not with surrender or panic, but with an explosion of creative chaos that would have horrified their would-be conquerors. Military bases worldwide hummed with activity, but not in the ordered, synchronized way the aliens might have expected. Dr. Sarah Martinez stood in the GDI's main command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the organized mayhem unfolding across Earth. Each nation, each military unit, each research team was attacking the problem from a different angle. Some were preparing conventional weapons, others working on electronic warfare, and still others pursuing strategies that seemed, on the surface, completely irrational. "Look at this," she said to Admiral Chen, highlighting a quantum scan of the alien fleet. Their ships maintain perfect formation even when adjusting course. Every movement, every energy signature is identical across their entire fleet. It's like they're all copies of a single template. Chen studied the display. "And you're saying that's their weakness?" "Exactly. They've eliminated variance from their systems entirely. But variance, adaptation, that's how nature handles complex problems. They've engineered around a fundamental principle of the universe, and they're burning massive amounts of energy to maintain that artificial order." A junior officer rushed up with a tablet. "Doctor, Admiral, you need to see this. We're picking up unusual energy fluctuations from the alien fleet." Sarah grabbed the tablet, her eyes widening as she analyzed the data. "Just as I thought. Their perfect synchronization is starting to slip. Maintaining that level of quantum coherence across such a large fleet, they can't keep it up indefinitely." "How can we use this?" Chen asked. Sarah's fingers flew across the holographic interface, pulling up theoretical models and simulation data. Their whole philosophy is built around perfect order, perfect synchronization. But that makes them vulnerable to chaos. Real chaos, not just random disorder. We need to hit them with deliberately unpredictable patterns that force their systems to adapt. She highlighted a section of the quantum analysis. "Look here, when their ships encounter unexpected variables, they don't adapt naturally like our systems would. Instead, they burn massive energy trying to force everything back into their preferred patterns. If we can overwhelm that capability, we can break their coherence." Chen finished. "But how do we generate that kind of chaos?" Sarah smiled. "By doing what humans do best, being unpredictable. I've been coordinating with research teams worldwide. Everyone's approaching this problem differently, and that's exactly what we need. The Indians are working on quantum destabilization fields. The Brazilians have some promising ideas about electromagnetic pulse weapons, and the Nigerian team has developed a fascinating approach using intentionally erratic drone swarms. None of these would be enough on their own," she continued, "but together, operating unpredictably." She paused as new data flowed across her screen. "The aliens are scanning us, trying to predict our defense strategies. But look at this. Their scans keep having to reset because they can't establish a coherent pattern. Our natural chaos is already confusing their systems." Admiral Chen's expression hardened. "They gave us 6 hours to surrender. Instead, we'll give them something they've never seen before, a defense that turns their greatest strength into a weakness." Around the world, humanity's response took shape. But it wasn't the coordinated, efficient response the Symmetrians might have expected. Instead, it was a symphony of controlled chaos. Thousands of different approaches, all working together in ways that defied prediction or pattern. Military units began deploying in seemingly random formations that nevertheless followed hidden patterns of organized chaos theory. Research labs worldwide began broadcasting quantum noise on frequencies designed to interact destructively with the aliens' perfect harmonies. Civilian hardware was hastily modified to generate electromagnetic interference that wouldn't harm Earth's technology, but would force the aliens' rigid systems to waste energy maintaining their artificial order. As the deadline approached, Sarah made a final adjustment to her calculations and looked up at the main display showing the alien fleet. Their perfect formation remained unchanged, but now she could see tiny fluctuations in their energy signatures, signs of strain as they struggled to maintain their impossible perfection in the face of mounting chaos. "They think they're superior because they've eliminated chaos from their systems," she said quietly. "They don't understand that chaos isn't our weakness, it's our strength. Evolution itself is built on chaos and adaptation. They're about to learn why the universe favors flexibility over rigid perfection." Admiral Chen gave the order, and humanity's chaotic defense plan sprang into action. The Symmetrians had come expecting to find a primitive species in need of optimization. Instead, they were about to face something far more dangerous, a species that had mastered the art of turning chaos itself into a weapon. The 6-hour deadline expired with neither surrender nor panic from Earth. Instead, the Symmetrians' sensors detected something unprecedented, a rising tide of quantum interference that seemed to follow no logical pattern, yet somehow maintained its own strange coherence. In the GDI Command Center, Dr. Sarah Martinez watched as humanity's chaotic defense plan unfolded. The holographic displays showed thousands of small craft launching from bases worldwide, everything from military drones to modified civilian vehicles. Each moved according to its own unpredictable pattern, yet together they formed a complex, ever-shifting web of electromagnetic and quantum interference. "First wave is away," Admiral Chen announced. "Dr. Martinez, are you seeing what we expected?" Sarah studied the quantum readings from the alien fleet. Even better. Look at their energy signatures. They're already increasing power to maintain formation. They can't ignore the quantum noise we're generating, but they can't adapt to it either. Their systems are trying to impose order on our chaos, and it's costing them. The Symmetrians' response came swiftly. Their perfect formation shifted, and energy beams of impossible precision lashed out at Earth's apparently scattered defenses. But where they expected to find easy targets, they encountered only more chaos. The human craft moved in ways that defied prediction, their paths guided by complex algorithms based on everything from weather patterns to stock market fluctuations. "They're trying to establish targeting solutions," Sarah observed, "but our movements don't follow any pattern their computers can recognize. Every time they think they've found order in our chaos, we shift to a different type of disorder." The alien fleet's perfect geometry began to show signs of strain. Ships that had maintained microsecond-precise formations for centuries began to drift by millimeters, then meters, as their systems struggled to compensate for the increasing tide of quantum interference. "Second wave, launch," Chen ordered. This time, larger vessels joined the fray, carriers and battleships whose systems had been hastily modified, according to Sarah's theories. But instead of conventional weapons, they carried quantum destabilizers calibrated to exploit the rigid perfection of the alien technology. Energy spiked from the alien fleet. A sensor operator called out, "They're charging their main weapons." Sarah's fingers flew across her console. That's what we wanted. The more power they draw, the harder their systems have to work to maintain quantum coherence. Look at these readings. They're burning through energy reserves just trying to keep their perfect formation while charging weapons. The Symmetrians' attack, when it came, was devastating in its precision. But that same precision made it predictable. Earth's chaotic defense screen shifted and flowed like smoke in the wind, presenting no clear targets while continuing to generate waves of quantum interference that forced the alien ships to expend ever more energy maintaining their rigidly ordered systems. "They still don't understand what we're doing," Sarah said, watching the alien fleet's increasingly desperate attempts to impose order on the battlefield. "They keep trying to find patterns, to predict where our forces will be. But we're not using patterns, we're using controlled chaos theory. Every time they adapt to one form of disorder, we switch to another." Hours into the battle, the first alien ship fell out of formation. Its quantum signature flickered and collapsed as its systems failed to maintain the perfect order demanded by Symmetrian technology. The ship didn't explode or break apart. It simply went dark, its rigid systems unable to function in the face of overwhelming chaos. Their entire civilization is built on the idea that perfect order is strength, Sarah explained as more alien vessels began to show signs of system failure. They've deliberately engineered around the natural chaos of the universe, forcing quantum systems to behave with impossible precision. But maintaining that order requires massive amounts of energy, and we're making them waste that energy trying to impose their order on our chaos. Admiral Chen watched as the alien fleet's perfect formation continued to deteriorate. They came to optimize us, to eliminate what they saw as disorder and inefficiency. Instead, we're showing them why evolution favored adaptation over perfection. The battle for Earth had become something unprecedented, not a contest of firepower or technology, but a war between two fundamentally different approaches to existence. The Symmetrians' perfect order faced humanity's adaptive chaos, and the universe itself seemed to favor the latter. As more alien ships began to fail, their rigid systems overwhelmed by the quantum chaos humanity had unleashed, Sarah Martinez allowed herself a small smile. The Symmetrians had come to impose their version of perfection on humanity. Instead, they were learning a lesson that Earth's scientists had discovered long ago. That true perfection lies not in eliminating chaos, but in learning to thrive within it. The battle above Earth had transformed into something unprecedented in galactic history. What began as a seemingly hopeless defense against superior technology had evolved into a masterpiece of controlled chaos that was systematically dismantling the Symmetrian fleet. Dr. Sarah Martinez stood transfixed before the main tactical display, where the once perfect geometric formations of the alien armada had degraded into increasingly erratic patterns. Nearly a third of their ships had gone dark, their rigid systems overwhelmed by humanity's quantum interference. "We're detecting communications from the alien fleet," announced Lieutenant Park from the communications station. "But it's different from their earlier transmissions. The patterns are breaking down." Sarah rushed to examine the data. Their quantum communication network is failing. They relied on perfect synchronization to maintain faster-than-light communications. Our interference isn't just affecting their ships, it's corrupting their ability to coordinate. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display with intense focus. They're trying to adapt, to find some way to counter our chaos. But look at their formation. Every attempt to reorganize just makes things worse. He was right. The Symmetrians' attempts to counter humanity's chaotic defense had only accelerated their decline. Each time they tried to impose new patterns of order, Earth's forces would shift to different forms of disorder, forcing the aliens to expend even more energy maintaining their increasingly unstable systems. New energy signatures from the alien fleet called out a sensor operator. I've never seen readings like this." Sarah's eyes widened as she analyzed the data. They're attempting to generate a quantum dampening field, trying to suppress all quantum uncertainty in a massive volume of space. They think if they can enforce perfect order on the battlefield itself, they can neutralize our chaos-based attacks. "Can they do it?" Chen asked, tension evident in his voice. "They're trying to violate fundamental laws of physics," Sarah replied. "The energy requirements would be..." She paused as new data flooded her screen. "They're drawing power from their entire fleet to fuel the dampening field. This is it. They're committing everything to one final attempt at imposing their version of perfection." Around Earth, humanity's defense forces received updated orders. The seemingly random movements of thousands of ships and drones shifted again, their chaotic patterns evolving to exploit the aliens' desperate gambit. "They don't understand," Sarah said, watching the energy readings from the alien fleet spike to impossible levels. "They're trying to eliminate chaos from a section of space-time itself. But quantum uncertainty isn't a flaw in the universe, it's a fundamental feature. Fighting it is like trying to eliminate gravity." The effects of the Symmetrians' attempt became visible even to the naked eye. A sphere of absolute stillness began to expand from the center of their fleet, a region where quantum fluctuations ceased to exist. For a moment, it seemed they might succeed in creating their pocket of perfect order. Then reality reasserted itself. The suppressed quantum chaos didn't disappear. It built up at the boundaries of the dampening field, growing exponentially more intense. The Symmetrians' own technology, dependent on perfect quantum states, began to fail catastrophically as waves of accumulated uncertainty crashed through their systems. "Their shields are failing," reported the tactical officer. "The dampening field is collapsing, and it's taking their ships with it." On the main display, Sarah watched as the Symmetrians' desperate gambit backfired spectacularly. Ships began to go dark in waves as the accumulated quantum chaos they tried to suppress washed back through their fleet. Their rigid, perfectly ordered systems, unable to adapt to the sudden surge of uncertainty, simply shut down. "We're receiving a new transmission," Lieutenant Park announced. "It's different from the others, more chaotic, almost fragmented." The message, when it came through, was no longer in the perfect, accentless English of their first communication. It came in bursts, broken and distorted. "How? Impossible. Chaos cannot. Perfection must. Request. Negotiation." Admiral Chen looked to Sarah. "Doctor, your assessment." She studied the quantum readings from the remaining alien ships. "Their entire system is breaking down, not just their technology, but their whole approach to existence. They built their civilization on the idea that perfection means eliminating chaos. Now they're being forced to confront the reality that the universe doesn't work that way." And their request for negotiation. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. "I think, for the first time in their history, the Symmetrians are being forced to adapt. The question is, can a civilization built on rigid perfection learn to embrace a little chaos?" As humanity's forces maintained their symphony of discord, the remnants of the alien fleet hung in space, their perfect order shattered, facing a choice between adaptation and extinction. The battle for Earth was nearly over, but its implications for the galaxy were just beginning. The negotiation chamber aboard the GDI's flagship presented a stark contrast between two civilizations. On one side stood the human delegation, each member uniquely dressed, moving with natural, uncalculated gestures. On the other, 3 Symmetrian representatives maintained perfectly identical poses, their silvery environmental suits still trying to maintain geometric precision despite visible signs of strain. Dr. Sarah Martinez studied their visitors with fascination. The aliens' once perfect quantum signatures now showed signs of fluctuation and variance, the beginning of adaptation, however unwilling. "Your strategy was incomprehensible," the lead Symmetrian stated, its translated voice struggling to maintain its former mechanical perfection. "You deliberately introduced chaos into your defensive patterns. You exploited disorder. This defies all logical optimization." "That's because you fundamentally misunderstand what optimization means," Sarah replied. "You tried to achieve perfection by eliminating chaos. We achieved resilience by embracing it." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "Your civilization has achieved incredible things through your pursuit of perfect order. But you've also created critical vulnerabilities. The universe itself operates on principles of uncertainty and adaptation." The Symmetrians' suits rippled with patterns that Sarah's instruments identified as signs of intense internal debate. Their rigid hierarchy was already showing signs of evolution, forced to adapt in the wake of their defeat. "We have analyzed the battle data," the second Symmetrian announced. "Our fleets have conquered 37 civilizations. All fell before our superior optimization. Yet your chaotic defense not only survived, it proved superior. This requires revaluation." Sarah brought up a holographic display showing the quantum signature of a human brain alongside that of the Symmetrians' technology. "Look at these patterns. Natural life embraces quantum uncertainty, uses it to create new solutions. Your technology fights against it, wastes energy trying to impose perfect order. Which approach seems more optimized to you?" The third Symmetrian moved forward, breaking their perfect triangular formation, an act that would have been unthinkable days before. Our civilization's foundation is built on the principle that perfection through order is the ultimate goal. If this principle is flawed, then you have an opportunity, Sarah completed. You don't have to abandon order, just the impossible pursuit of perfect order. The most successful systems in nature combine structure with adaptability. Admiral Chen activated another display, showing the aftermath of the battle. Your remaining ships are already showing signs of adaptation. Their quantum signatures are becoming more flexible, more resilient. They're learning to work with the universe's inherent chaos rather than fighting it. The lead Symmetrian was silent for a long moment. When it spoke, its voice had lost some of its mechanical precision, gaining something almost like wonder. We came to optimize humanity. Instead, you have shown us a fundamental flaw in our own optimization. This is unprecedented. That's the beauty of imperfection, Sarah said with a smile. It leaves room for growth, for discovery, for change. Perfect systems can't improve. They can only break. Imperfect systems can adapt and evolve. The negotiations continued for hours, but their outcome was never really in doubt. The Symmetrians, their worldview shattered but their capacity for analysis intact, recognized that they had discovered something more valuable than a new territory to optimize. They had found a new path forward. As the alien representatives prepared to return to their ship, the third one turned back. We will need to process these revelations. Our entire civilization must reevaluate its fundamental assumptions. This will create disorder. Yes, Sarah agreed. And that's exactly what you need. Perfect order is stagnation, a little chaos. That's how you get growth, innovation, evolution. That's how you get life. In the days that followed, the remaining Symmetrian ships withdrew from Earth's solar system, but not before establishing channels for future communication and cultural exchange. Their civilization had been transformed by their encounter with humanity, forced to confront the possibility that their definition of perfection had been fundamentally flawed. Back in her lab, Sarah Martinez studied the final transmissions from the departing alien fleet. Their once perfect quantum signatures now showed signs of variation and adaptation, the beginning of their own journey toward a more resilient form of existence. They came to perfect us, she mused to Admiral Chen, and instead learned the perfection of imperfection. The question is, what will a civilization built on perfect order become once it learns to embrace a little chaos? Chen smiled. That's the beautiful thing about chaos, Doctor. There's no way to predict it. But I have a feeling the galaxy is about to become a much more interesting place. Above them, the stars shone on an Earth forever changed by its encounter with the Symmetrians. Humanity had proven that its greatest perceived weakness, its chaos, its disorder, its glorious imperfection, was in fact its greatest strength. And in doing so, they had not just defended their world. They had introduced a new idea into the galaxy, that true perfection lies not in the absence of chaos, but in the ability to thrive within it. The perfect order of the Symmetrians had been defeated not by superior technology or greater numbers, but by humanity's fundamental nature, our ability to adapt, to embrace uncertainty, to find strength in our very imperfection. It was a lesson that would ripple through the galaxy for centuries to come, as one by one, other civilizations learned what humanity had always known, that in a universe built on quantum uncertainty, the most perfect system is one that doesn't try to be perfect at all.